If you're someone who frankly loves history, it will come as no surprise to you that our past is loaded with civilizations that once flourished but have since disappeared. And if you ask us, well, there's something so tantalizingly mysterious and bizarre about them. From advanced societies eradicated by the sands of time to cultures that vanished without a trace, there are so many enchanting examples out there. So, let us challenge your understanding of the past and take a look at 15 of the most bizarre lost civilizations in history that are anything but forgotten. Let's start off with number 15, the Olmec. One of the first great Mesoamerican civilizations, the Olmec thrived in the tropical lowlands of south-central Mexico, emerging around 1400 BCE. Their civilization centered around San Lorenzo, their main hub, supported by secondary sites like Tenochtitlan and Potrero Nuevo. The Olmec were master architects, constructing ceremonial courts, towering pyramids, and colossal stone heads, some over 10 feet tall and weighing several tons. These enigmatic faces, likely depicting rulers, remain their most famous legacy. Trade was the lifeblood of the Olmec world, linking their settlements and influencing other Mesoamerican cultures. Because of this, they are often called the mother civilization of the region. Yet, around 400 BCE, much of their territory was abruptly abandoned. Theories suggest environmental shifts, volcanic eruptions, or even warfare may have played a role, but no concrete evidence exists. The Olmec faded into history, leaving behind only their massive stone heads and unanswered questions about their sudden decline. Number 14, the Indus Valley Civilization. Among the first urban societies in history, the Indus Valley Civilization thrived in what is now northwest India and Pakistan around 2500 BCE. Known for its meticulously planned cities, advanced drainage systems, and surprisingly modern infrastructure, Mohenjo-Daro was the beating heart of this civilization. Their cities weren't just built. They were designed and laid out in precise grids with private wells, indoor plumbing, and even garbage disposal systems. If that doesn't scream ahead of their time, what does? And yet, for all their brilliance, we know shockingly little about them. Their script remains undeciphered, leaving their politics, culture, and even their downfall wrapped in mystery. What little we do know comes from scattered ruins and passing mentions in ancient texts. By 1900 BCE, their once thriving cities were abandoned. Climate change, invasion, a slow decline, no theory holds up completely. All that remains are the ghostly ruins of Mohenjo-Daro, whispering of a civilization that vanished without a trace. Number 13. The Cucuteni-Trypillian culture. In Romania, they were the Cucuteni. In Ukraine, the Trypillians. In Russia, the Tripoli. This Neolithic culture flourished between 5500 and 2750 BCE, constructing some of the largest prehistoric settlements in Europe, some housing up to 15,000 people. But one of their strangest customs? Every 60 to 80 years, they would burn their entire village and rebuild on top of the ashes. The reason remains unknown. The society was matriarchal. Women led households, farmed, and created intricate pottery, while men hunted, made tools, and tended to livestock. Their religion revolved around the Great Mother Goddess, symbolizing fertility, along with the worship of bulls and serpents. As for their disappearance, theories include the Kurgan hypothesis, which suggests they were conquered by aggressive, warlike invaders. More recent research, however, points to climate change, potentially triggering one of the worst droughts in European history, devastating an agricultural society that depended on stable seasons. Number 12. The Clovis culture. A prehistoric people dating back to roughly 10,000 BCE, the Clovis culture is recognized as one of the earliest human groups to inhabit North America. Their distinctive flint spear points, known as Clovis points, were used for hunting massive Ice Age animals like mammoths and bison. These expert hunters likely migrated from Siberia across the Bering Land Bridge before spreading across the continent, becoming the ancestors of many indigenous American cultures. But then, they vanished. Some scholars believe they gradually transitioned into new groups, such as the Folsom culture. Others argue that overhunting led to the extinction of mammoths and other megafauna, depriving them of a food source. The most controversial theory? A comet impact near the Great Lakes, which may have caused environmental changes that disrupted their way of life. Whatever the cause, the Clovis culture disappeared, leaving behind only their expertly crafted stone tools as evidence of their once thriving existence. Number 11. The Ancestral Puebloans. The Ancestral Puebloans, sometimes called the Anasazi, built some of the most mind-boggling dwellings in history, massive cliffside homes carved directly into the rock faces of the American Southwest. These weren't just shelters, they were fortresses, offering protection from harsh desert conditions and potential enemies. From around 900 to 1300 CE, they flourished, mastering agriculture, astronomy, and crafting pottery so intricate that archaeologists still marvel at it today. Then, in a move that defies easy explanation, they left. Their once thriving cliffside cities were abandoned, their fate lost to time. Some theories suggest severe droughts, while others point to resource depletion, conflict, or even environmental mismanagement. But no single answer fits perfectly. The ruins of Mesa Verde and Chaco Canyons stand frozen in time, leaving us with a haunting question. Why did they leave behind such a carefully built world? Number 10. The Minoans. The Minoans of Crete are often credited as Europe's first great civilization, flourishing between 2700 and 1450 BCE. They left behind stunning palaces, intricate frescoes, and an artistic legacy that still influences modern Greece. The Palace of Knossos, with its maze-like design, is even believed to have inspired the legend of the Minotaur's labyrinth. Clearly, these people were onto something big. But then, disaster. Some say the volcanic eruption at Thera triggered tsunamis and climate shifts that crippled their society. Others believe they were invaded or weakened by internal strife. Whatever happened, their civilization collapsed almost overnight, fading into myth and ruin. Today, walking through the remnants of Knossos, you can't help but feel the echoes of a society that built wonders only to have them swallowed by history. All right, guys, now, let's talk about Number 9. The Nabateans. The Nabateans, an ancient Arab civilization that thrived between the 4th century BCE and the 2nd century CE, were the masterminds behind Petra, a city carved into the red sandstone cliffs of modern-day Jordan. The sheer scale and precision of their rock-cut architecture, especially the legendary treasury, is enough to leave anyone speechless. But the Nabateans weren't just artists. They were master traders, controlling vital trade routes and amassing enormous wealth. And yet, despite their power, they disappeared. The expansion of the Roman Empire and shifting trade routes likely played a role, but their decline remains shrouded in uncertainty. What's clear is that Petra, once a thriving metropolis, was eventually left to the elements. Today, its towering facades stand eerily silent, a city carved in stone but abandoned to time. Number 8. The Mycenaeans. Rising from the influence of the Minoans, the Mycenaeans established themselves as a formidable power around 1600 BCE in southern Greece. Their influence spread across the mainland and islands, dominating cities like Mycenae, Tiryns, Thebes, and Pylos. Their culture became the foundation of many Greek myths. Most famously, Mycenae was home to King Agamemnon, the legendary leader of the Greek forces in the Trojan War. Naval dominance and trade fueled their expansion, with Mycenaean craftsmen known for their exquisite goldwork, weaponry, and pottery. However, by 1100 BCE, their world crumbled. Theories for their collapse range from internal revolts and disrupted trade routes to devastating earthquakes. The most widely accepted theory? Invasion, possibly by the Dorians, who later settled in Greece, or the mysterious Sea Peoples, who wreaked havoc across the Mediterranean. Whatever the cause, their once mighty civilization fell, plunging Greece into a dark age that lasted centuries. Number 7. The Great Zimbabwe Ruins. When European settlers first stumbled upon the vast ruins of Great Zimbabwe, spanning over 80 hectares, they refused to believe it was built by African hands. Instead, they clung to outlandish theories, crediting the structure to the Queen of Sheba, the Chinese, or lost European explorers. It wasn't until much later that archaeologists corrected this narrative, proving that Great Zimbabwe was the work of an advanced African civilization in the medieval era. At its peak, the city housed between 10,000 and 20,000 people, thriving on cattle farming, agriculture, and a lucrative gold trade along the Indian Ocean coast. The site even boasts an ancient drainage system that still functions today. But by the 15th century, it was abandoned. The most accepted theory points to famine and resource depletion, but the true reason remains uncertain. What's left is a breathtaking monument to African ingenuity, one that rewrote history despite centuries of denial. Number 6. The Ancient Kingdom of Thulamela. Built by the enigmatic Shona people of Zimbabwe, Thulamela stretches across 9 hectares at the northern edge of South Africa's Kruger National Park. Dating between the 13th and 17th centuries, it once housed nearly 3,000 people, though the exact number remains unknown, as no full-scale excavation has been conducted. Thulamela was a bustling trade hub, connecting to distant lands as far as China. The discovery of Chinese porcelain and glass beads suggests its people were part of an expansive trade network, exporting locally mined iron, copper, gold, and tin through the Indian Ocean trade routes. But by the 17th century, Thulamela was deserted. Some archaeologists link its downfall to the Zimbabwe Civil War or Portuguese interference in regional trade. Curiously, even though its name is modern, Thulamela means place of birth, but its original name is lost. As archaeologists continue their search, this ancient kingdom remains one of Africa's best-kept historical secrets. Number 5. Phoenicia. Phoenicia rose along the shores of modern-day Lebanon, flourishing as a maritime power. The Phoenicians weren't just sailors, they were master shipbuilders, traders, and craftsmen. They made a fortune from their monopoly on a rare purple dye extracted from murex snails, a symbol of royalty. But their most enduring legacy? The world's first phonetic alphabet. Beginning around 1550 BCE, the Phoenicians dominated Mediterranean trade, establishing colonies as far as North Africa and Spain. Their influence was so deep that even after Alexander the Great's conquest in 334 BCE, their cultural impact remained. The Greeks adapted the Phoenician alphabet, which later evolved into Latin, giving us the script we use today. Strangely, despite their far-reaching influence, the Phoenicians themselves recorded little of their own history. Perhaps they wrote on perishable materials like papyrus, leaving behind only scattered references in Greek and Roman texts. Their words may be lost, but their influence is anything but forgotten. Number 4. The Zapotec Civilization. While the Aztecs and Maya often steal the spotlight, the Zapotecs were among Mesoamerica's earliest and most sophisticated civilizations. As pioneers of agriculture and writing, they also built one of North America's first major cities, Monte Alban. Founded in the 5th century BCE, this metropolis once housed up to 25,000 people and thrived for over 1,200 years. Monte Alban was ruled by an elite class of priests, warriors, and artisans, governing the surrounding regions through a mix of diplomacy, warfare, and tribute. But despite their long reign, their civilization mysteriously crumbled. Their city was left largely intact, yet abandoned, as if its people simply walked away. Some scholars believe economic instability forced them to migrate in search of work. Others point to internal conflicts that shattered their unity. What's certain is that after centuries of dominance, the Zapotecs fragmented into smaller city-states, engaging in endless power struggles until their once great civilization faded into history. Number 3. The Vinca civilization. Europe's most overlooked prehistoric civilization, the Vinca, thrived for nearly 1,500 years, starting around 5,500 BCE. Spreading across present-day Serbia and Romania, they were among the first known metalworkers, possibly even the world's first users of copper. Their settlements, carefully organized along the Danube, reveal an astonishing level of sophistication for their time. The Vinca people didn't have a formal writing system, but they left behind thousands of symbols on artifacts, an early form of proto-writing that predates many known scripts. Archaeologists have also unearthed children's toys, intricate pottery, and figurines, suggesting a culture that valued both artistry and daily life. They even had designated areas for waste disposal, an impressive level of urban planning for a Neolithic society. But despite their advancements, they disappeared. Some speculate climate change or resource depletion, while others point to invading groups. Whatever the cause, the Vinca faded, leaving behind mysterious symbols and the remnants of a civilization ahead of its time. Number 2. The Rapa Nui. Easter Island, also known as Rapa Nui, is one of the most isolated places on Earth, famous for its moai, those enormous stone heads that have captivated the world. And we're sure you all know them. Between 1400 and 1650 CE, the Rapa Nui people carved these massive figures using primitive tools, transporting them across the island through methods that still baffle researchers. Each moai carries a unique expression, as if silently guarding the land. But the mystery runs deeper than the statues. By the time Europeans arrived in the 18th century, the island was nearly barren, its forests gone, and its people struggling to survive. Theories range from ecological collapse due to deforestation, to internal conflict, to the devastating impact of European diseases. The truth remains elusive. Yet despite their civilization's downfall, the moai still stand, silent witnesses to a once thriving society that left behind more questions than answers. Number 1. The Khmer Empire. The Khmer Empire, which ruled much of Southeast Asia from the 9th to 15th century, was a powerhouse of art, architecture, and engineering. At its heart was Angkor, one of the most spectacular cities in history, home to the legendary Angkor Wat. This colossal temple complex, with its intricate carvings and massive scale, remains a marvel even today. The empire's mastery of water management and urban planning was unparalleled, allowing it to build a city that could sustain over 1 million people. Then, as quickly as it rose, Angkor was abandoned. Theories suggest prolonged droughts followed by catastrophic monsoons devastated the region. Others point to internal conflict or external invasions. Whatever the cause, the jungle slowly reclaimed the city, turning grand temples into overgrown ruins. Walking through Angkor today, you can still feel the presence of a lost empire, its temples standing as ghostly reminders of a civilization that once ruled but was ultimately consumed by time. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for your time, and we'll see you soon in the next one.